Do you need a real customer project to write a UX case study? Most of the time, the projects that we are working in our companies are bound by certain NDAs, which doesn't give you the permission to write a case study on it. In that case, how could you demonstrate your UX skills to the public? First of all, you can ask for permission. Well, I would say it's 50-50. Sometimes they will give you the permission, sometimes they won't. In such cases, how could you write a UX case study to demonstrate your UX abilities? I'll tell you. What we need to see in a UX case study is your ability to identify a particular problem, diagnose it, and go through the process and see how the problem impacts to others and define that scope and come to a solution. How you articulate your solution, articulate your design decisions and demonstrate it. That's what we need to see in a UX case study. So there are tons of crappy products out there, and there are certain good products which need certain improvements to certain parts. Pick one and try to identify at least one problem there, solve it, write a UX case study for that particular project. And that would be an awesome UX case study which demonstrates your UX abilities. All we need to see is whether you have that right UX thinking. So today I'm going to show you a similar type of a case study which is written for the product Zoom. This person has identified certain improvements there, and he has done a research to see the impact, and he has gone through the process and have come up with certain solutions. I will explain this case study step by step, hoping that you could learn a thing or two to write your own UX case study. I will explain the good parts which he has done, as well as I will explain certain things that he could have done better. So let's begin. The designer who has written this UX case study is called Rakan Dawood. Look at the title he has given. I hated joining meetings in Zoom, so I redesigned it. UX case study. You couldn't have asked for a better title than this, because title is super important for any UX case study. That is the point. That is the first point that you try to hook up your readers into reading your UX case study. He has given a wonderful title here. Then comes the overview. In a world where everything is going remote, platforms like Zoom have become irreplaceable tools. However, despite its widespread popularity and features, I hated joining meetings through Zoom, and I bet it was the same for some users. So naturally, I decided to enhance this part of the user experience. So overview is a section where you begin with, that is where you set the context for this user experience case study. And then comes the problem statement. As someone who has used Zoom, Google Meet, and Teams on a day-to-day basis, I immediately recognize the issues Zoom had, especially when joining a meeting. Here are the two main issues. Okay, joining a meeting has friction, not enough visibility of the audio and video controls for the user. Now, this particular problem statement, this is based on his experience. In a real customer project, the problem statement is given by the customer. But that doesn't matter. You need the problem statement. It doesn't matter where it comes from. So I've seen some people combine this overview and problem statement. That is also fine. In this case, he has given it in two different sections. I believe giving it in two different sections is something much clearer than giving it in one. But that's okay. That's your choice. Then he starts to dig deeper. I got suited and used the Figma to draw the existing path of the flow of joining a meeting. Now he has tried to understand the existing user journey of the Zoom, how it can be used to connect to a meeting. And this is what he has identified. He has explained this one. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to read through these everything. I have given the link for this UX case study in comment sections. You can go through it anytime you want to. Now, if you look at the section here, he has tried to understand the existing user journey. So here he has gone into the user research. I started researching the ideal use of a Zoom, their pain points and goals. This led me to create a proto persona based on my research. Now there are two ways of creating a persona. One is a research persona, where you go to users first, gather information and create a persona. The other one is you gather information offline, without going into go to the users, based on what's available in the internet, what's available with the product owner, and there are several ways to gather this information, and you create a set of hypotheses and then go to users to validate it. That is called the proto-persona. Here, what he has mentioned is a bit confusing because if he has done the research first, then it's not a proto-persona, it's a person, it's a research persona. We'll just mention it as persona. That would do. But anyway, the goal is to have more awareness about the user and what problems Zoom has solved for them. So that is the goal. He has identified several segments here and characteristics and pain points which lead them to use Zoom and certain goals they had. He has done it for several segments. And then comes this section, how I found the issues. At this point, I understood the flow and also understood what the pain points of the users are. Now it was time for me to research the current flow using a UX matrix diagram. So what UX matrix does is it's a document where you connect all the issues that you could find into existing user journey. So it gives you the indication what problems lies at what touch point at what user journey. So without knowing that, you can't solve any problem. So this diagram allows us to find individual or collective issues within the flow. I use existing screenshots and existing solution for this. Here's 3 things I did to find issues for the flow. Now you can find issues in many ways. He has explained the ways that he has used. I conducted usability testing. I grabbed screenshots of relevant reviews of on the Google Play Store as well as in getapp.com. That is also fine, and use my knowledge of design in general to determine certain issues. Your experience or your expertise also is another way of capturing these issues. Doing a usability heuristic evaluation could be another. Doing end user behavior monitoring is another way. Now, in these kind of projects where it is self-inflicted, in such cases, you will never have the access to this end user behavior monitoring tool. But in a real project, real customer project, you might have access to these things. Here are the issues I found after conducting user experience metrics. Not conducting user experience metrics, but creating should be. Pop-ups before a meeting cause distraction and increase cognitive load. No option to join through the browser initially, but clicking the button twice would show the option and eventually. Yes, I have experienced that one as well. Unclear text for controls. No way to test audio, video. The anxiety of whether the audio, video is turned off is there while clicking launch meeting. Now he has gathered these problems through doing this. Now he has mentioned, he has shown what he has done as the user experience matrix in visual. But here I have a little bit of an issue because this is too small for me to read. Let me browse. Okay, it doesn't work. Yep. And if we could find a way to present this in a much bigger manner, I would be very happy. But what he has done is very correct. Now he has mentioned the existing user journey. I mean, he has shown it in visual format, and he has mentioned several issues which he could found through several ways. And I hope these are the issues that he has mentioned here as well. I can't read it. Maybe I'm too old. I don't know. Now he has come to the solution list. Now that I have identified the issues and gathered the needed information, it's time for me to brainstorm potential solution. Now this is super important in a UX case study because so many people, I have seen so many designers that they have premeditated certain solutions even before they get into the user research and find what problems actually is there. So you could only solve a problem once you have identified it. So I first wrote down the overall goals for this redesign. It is as follows. implementing a frictionless joining experience for the meetings, reducing the number of clicks, allow users to pre-configure audio and video, enhancing the user interface to prioritize important information. Well, let's see how he has done it. Then based on these goals, I redid the solution blueprint. So he has rethought of the existing user journeys, and he has altered it. Here is how he has done it. You can read through it. I'm not going to read it for you because the link is for this case study is there. Let's go to this part. Improved design. The final step was to solve the problem with the design. I made sure the same design patterns of Zoom are used here. Now this part is super important again. When you're doing this kind of an improvement, you have to adhere to the existing design patterns, because if you chose certain other design patterns, then your parts, your improvement parts would look so out of place. So don't do that. Stick to what they have used in their visual design. If the patterns are not right, then you can do a complete overhaul. Then it's not an improvement, then it's a complete revamp. But here, if you are doing an improvement here and there, then you have to use existing design patterns. I started with some hand-drawn wireframes, which he has not shown here. I appreciate if he could have shown it here, but that's what he has chosen. I mean, it's your story. You can tell it the way you want. That's fine. He has mentioned that he has started with hand-drawn wireframes. That's also good, because then I get the feeling that he knows this process. Then he switched to Figma for high fidelity designs. So without wasting time, he has straight away shown it. Look at the way he has presented the before screen on the left hand and the after screen on the right hand. So this is what he has done. And let me point out these things. He has explained the design decisions he has taken, why this particular button is here, why that particular button is there, and why this text is there. So he has explained everything. That is something that user experience designers must do. You have to have reasons for everything that you put in your design. There can't be anything like, random. I just put, you can't say that. You have to have a reason for it, and this is what we call articulating design decisions, which he has done nicely. Again, this is a bit too small for me. If we could find a way to, show it a little bit bigger, I'm very happy. But that's okay. He has now. This is what is existing out there. He has mentioned this is so clear that you could proceed with the browser, or you could download the Zoom app. And if you have already installed the Zoom app, then you could mention that use the Zoom desktop app or whatever. And that is fine. And the permissions page, he has redesigned that one as well, and he has explained everything here. Now, there's only one way that you will get to know whether your solution works. That is only by doing some user test. Now, if I give something here, then that's my opinion. My opinion doesn't matter. Nobody's opinions count here. In user experience designing, what we could rely on is the facts, the actual facts, whether it works for users or not. You can have opinions. I'm not saying you can't, but that doesn't matter a lot in user experience designing. He has improved because he has given his reasoning. He has given his reasoning why he has doing it like this. So let's respect that one. And pre-video page, he has done a lot of improvements. Repeated user screen before the call. And here we go, the user testing part. This is the most important part, where you could see whether your improvements work or not. I conducted a small-scale user test with about 5 users that matched the user description. Here's what I found and what could be improved. Users found the permission screen valuable, as some users would like to join meetings protecting their privacy. They were relaxed to find the camera and microphone is turned off. Some users complained that the content in the enter meeting information
was too much. You can't expect when you're making certain improvements that everything will go smoothly. No, that won't happen like that. Certain parts you will get right, and certain parts, yes, there could be improvements again. So here he has got 2 points right and one improvement. That looks very legit to me. But what I would like to see here is the way he conducted. If he could show the way he conducted this user research, or rather the user testing, I'll be very happy to say that. And the conclusion, the final designs look good and blah blah blah, and so was my design, and roughly the time to get a meeting with the new get into meeting rather with new design was reduced by 60%. And now there are several different ways that you can do usability testing. One is findability and discoverability testing. Other one is general usability test by observation, and task completion rates, as well as time on task. Now here he has done time on task test with the existing Zoom application. It takes 110 seconds, and he says it's 50 seconds with his design. Uh, this was a short project I did. The main challenge was to change the process to facilitate redesign a part of it, blah, blah, blah. I had to make sure the interaction and the information were properly applied since the users are already used to what the Zoom does. So that is quite challenging. When you are improving an existing application or redesign for that matter, there are so much of users who are already familiar with those applications. I mean, the ways that the application offer you certain things. So you have to be very careful when you are changing it. Like I said before, you have to stick to the existing design patterns, but you can improve the pain points or the goals and needs that you have identified. That's the way you should go. So all in all, what I could see is there are improvements like I mentioned, but overall I would say this is a very nicely written UX case study. Maybe he could have improved certain grammar and certain ways where he has presented it. But overall, it's a very good UX case study. I get the feeling that this person knows user experience. That is what you need to convey from your user experience case studies. And there's only one way that we can measure whether he really knows user experience is to call for an interview and give him a whiteboard test on the spot to measure whether he could replicate his thinking, the same thinking that he has shown here in that whiteboard session as well. Then if he could do that, yes, he's really a good UX designer, but I'm pretty sure he knows it the way he has written it and explained it. So this is one way of showcasing your user experience designing skills. You don't need a real customer project. There are tons of crappy products out there and tons of products which are good but need certain improvements here and there. Pick one and write your own case study. You don't have to, completely overhaul the product. Pick one area, one improvement that would do. All we need to see is whether you have the right user experience thinking. This person has it. Thank you for listening. See you in another video.